Good morning, respected adjudicators and members of the House. I'm Safira, and today I stand here as the government to strongly support today's motion, which is this House would let the government fully own and manage all public transportation in Indonesia. Well, public transportation should be a right, not a business. And right now in Indonesia, many public transportation is owned by the private companies, which means that public transportation is often not equal to all people in Indonesia, especially in poor and rural areas, and people who need it most can have the good access into it. So that's why the government must fully control public transportation to make sure the fairness in it. And here is the situation we face today. So some transport like KAI or Transjakarta is already owned by the government, but there is also the involvement from public companies, private companies. I mean, and there is no nationwide connection in public transportation, especially in rural and poor area can have the good access to it, and that's why the government can fully control over the price, the safety, and the quality because they don't fully own and manage all the public transportation. And so we propose that the government is fully owns and controls all public transportation, including trains, buses, and angkot. And public companies will only act below the supervision of the government. And the government also will subsidize fares to make it affordable to everyone and implement inclusivity in terms of routes and payment system to implement it in every areas and also expand it to areas that doesn't well serve right now. And government will also set standard for safety and quality, and last but not least, government will protect workers' rights. And why people or we should support this motion is because by having the government to have fully own and manage to public transportation is ensuring equal access for all citizens. Why? Because public companies is only focused on the profit. This means that they will set a high price to it and only pick the profitable area. So it's not inclusive. And we can see it from Transjakarta and KAI right now, and which is the government owned, but it has the hands-on with the private companies. Um, these systems is only available in big cities like Jakarta and Surabaya. So by fully own and managing public transportation, the government can ensure all areas, not just the profitable ones, are connected and the equal access is accomplished. The second one is it can also protect the environmental and improve city planning because government can see the big picture of it, like public companies only tend to care about making money. They don't see the big picture, like how to reduce pollution, traffic jams, and so on. Like the problems and improvement that the area needs is only can know or judge by the government. And we can see like cities like Singapore and Seoul, they have cleaner air, less traffic, and better public service because the government is fully own the transport and cities. So, if Indonesia wants to have better environment, we need the government to fully own and manage public transportation. The opposition might argue that the government will corrupt and the project or the maintain of public transportation is poor. Well, yes, I mean, in fact, public companies can also be corrupt, and let's not make misjudgmental into it. And even worse, public companies, they are they are less scared to public transportation because their main goal is profit. And by government fully owning and managing the public transportation, we can push them for transparency rather than running away from the problem. Thank you. Good morning, respected adjudicators and members of the House. Today, as the opposition team, I stand strongly against the motion. We believe that letting the government to have full ownership and management to public transportation is not a better solution. And this is not about whether public transportation is important. We surely do think that it is important. But the big question here is who is better at making transportation system efficient to people's needs? Well, we believe that a mix of public-private is better than giving the government full control to it. And we support the current system right now in Indonesia, where government owns some transport like KAI and Transjakarta, and also works with public company to operate and expand the system. And we believe that rather than letting the full ownership to government, we should improve the regulation, safety, and service quality in today's system. And why? Because the first one is government monopoly limits service quality and flexibility. Giving fully control to transportation can lead to less responsive to people's need. Why? Because government often slow and they tend to standardize the system. And without help from private, local areas may be left out or forced to wait for a long process of bureaucracy. And a mix of private publics allows the faster process to improve the public transportation. Take a look, or we can take the example from Angkot and local shuttle bus company. This service can adjust the routes and schedules. So if we letting the government to have full owner or control to it, we can lose this flexibility. And government will say full control can bring equal access, but we say partnership, not monopoly, is the way to do that. Let government set the rules and the private sectors help deliver the service. And the second is private company are more creative and they are trying to make the improvement because they're in business too. They have to compete with each other to win the passenger. Why? Because unlike the government, public companies is always look for improvement, like I said before, and they have to do it because they have to compete with each other. We can take a look from Gojek here. Gojek and Grab, they introduced ride-hailing apps that completely changed the way people are moved around, and this system is the government is don't have such system or improvements. Well, that's why by keeping public company in systems can bring out new ideas and improvements in public transportation. Well, the government might say that public companies don't care about poor areas, and that's why the government should regulate better and give subsidies to serve those area who's left out. And we don't need the full control to fix this. Thank you.